he was talking about, which is how do we take some of the complexity away from what you're doing as you're rolling these out so that you can take those pilots into large scale production. So whether it's data gravity, whether it's how we drive more utilization on the GPUs, because these are expensive resources. If they're running it at 1% or they're running idle, that's a big sunk cost that you're not able to recover. How do we do integration of very, very complex sets of technology? And so in doing this, we wanted to move to what we call today in the keynote with G2, a much more full stack approach to delivering these technologies. We have a lot of the piece parts and components. We can bring together most of what our customers need. But in the world of AI, there is no one vendor that has every single one of these pieces. We have to partner across. And so you're going to have solutions that have, maybe Cisco compute and Cisco networking and storage from a partner and GPUs from NVIDIA or software running from some of our other partners like Red Hat. And so the ability to bring these together, operationalize it very quickly and easily is not something that a lot of our enterprise customers are capable of or are doing a great job with today. And that's one of the reasons why we see a lot of these pilots fail as customers go to large scale production. And so one of the things we're trying to bring is a full stack approach, bring the different technology partners together, let Cisco deliver those technologies, bring our services organization to help you bring those the stacks up and running, and then allow us to bring new partners in over time as these technologies evolve. We started this with what we call Cisco validated designs. These were very simple. We've had these forever in traditional data center workloads. We brought those into the AI world. We started to bring these as what we called AI pods. AI pods allowed us to have a single, think of it as almost like single SKU type of ordering, but basically bringing everything together for a specific purpose. If you wanted to do an inference workload at a particular size, we could t-shirt size it and tell you exactly what equipment you would need and give you a blueprint for how you were going to deploy it. We kicked off something with NVIDIA. NVIDIA has AI factories. AI factories are these token generation architectures. We have our own version of that we call the Cisco Secure AI Factory, because why would you want an AI factory if it wasn't secure? And how do you not trust the security partner that you have in Cisco to bring those technologies together with AI? So we've done some really cool stuff where we're protecting the models with something called AI defense, or bringing our more perimeter or hypershield security technologies to protect the infrastructure environment itself. And then lastly, we've started to build partner-driven solutions. We've brought in a ton of ISVs. We've brought in a lot more software partners. And we're even working with a partner called Quality to bring deployment expertise and automation into rolling these things out. So we want to make it as simple and as easy as possible for you to build up these AI stacks, and then focus on the things that Charlie talked about around your data, the data pipeline, and then bringing the data to the applications themselves. And then as we start to look at innovation, we're innovating within that entire stack to allow you to deploy as quickly as possible. So let's start looking at some of the details underneath. This is what that Secure AI Factory is. The Secure AI Factory is all of the different components from networking, compute, storage. If you think about AI is actually the same technology stacks we've been deploying in the traditional data center. It's compute, it's storage, it's networking, but it all has to work as a single system. We're bringing new networks into play. We're bringing the front-end network you already have deployed. We're bringing a back-end network to connect the GPUs. We're having to look at high-capacity access into the storage network. And so how do we bring these together in ways that make it simpler for customers to deploy, along with technology innovation from those partners like NVIDIA? It's a great time to be a networking person. I've been in networking for 30 years. And one of the things that we're starting to see is networks are starting to become the bottleneck for deploying AI resources. Yes, you need a ton of GPUs. Yes, there's capital costs and memory is getting expensive. But as we start to look at inference and we start to look at more of these agentic workflows, the cost of AI is actually in the network and in making the network run smoothly. And that's why we're trying to bring these to our customers in this manner. One of the other interesting areas for us is how we see these stacks evolving. And so if you look, we're bringing all of our partner ecosystem, we're bringing NVIDIA, but we also have technologies that we've developed internally that we can bring into this ecosystem. So we acquired a company called Isovalent a few years ago. Kubernetes is becoming one of the most interesting parts of deploying AI workloads in these stacks. And one of the things we started to notice is as you start to build out these architectures, Kubernetes became a black box for us. So when you think about building up a traditional front end, it's your normal fabric that you would build today, put a bunch of switches together, connect those into your compute layer, and we have access and visibility to the addressing, to the overlay, to the underlay, and actually how traffic runs across that network. But what's interesting is when you start to bring Kubernetes on top of this, it's actually a black box. We don't understand what's happening inside of the network layer of Kubernetes. And one of the reasons we acquired Isovalent is the company behind Cilium. They're one of the most common network interfaces into Kubernetes stacks in the market today. They develop both a productized version that Cisco sells as well as an open source version. They're used by every hyperscaler in the world. And the reason they're used there is because they provide direct visibility into that Kubernetes layer and into what's happening in the hosts themselves. And so when you start to think about what that means, we can actually build a bridge, take your EVPN VXLAN fabric that you've built already, and get visibility into the Kubernetes layer itself. So when you start to think about the stuff that we talked about over the last 15, 20 minutes, we're going from what were simple, more traditional data center architectures. We're bringing a lot more compute into the network. We're bringing Kubernetes, and that's the basis that all of your AI applications are going to run on top of. And now we're providing hooks and visibility deep into that so that you can provide end-to-end policy the same way you would on your physical network, the same way you would with your VM-based implementations, but into the Kubernetes and the containers that are running your AI workloads themselves. And so that's one of the values of that full stack approach that we talked about is I can take tools and technologies that we're developing, I can integrate them in, and I can deploy them simply and easily across a large set of customers. And then the last thing is, as we start to build up that foundation, we need to think about how we bring a partner ecosystem into the mix. And so an AI application is only as good as the partners that we bring in. And so we've looked at across verticals, we've looked at different partners, and we're trying to bring as many partners into this ecosystem as we can to deliver opinionated stacks to you so that you can deploy for specific use cases, specific applications, but with enough flexibility that you can bring on new ideas like some of the stuff that the Monumental Sports team talked about earlier. And then last, we want to be able to extend that ecosystem to partners and use cases within any vertical that we talk about. So Jeremy and I love sports. We're going to talk a lot about some of the sports ecosystem today, but we want to be able to bring that into applications for any healthcare, different industries as we move into manufacturing. And so you'll start to see more and more of these full stack offers, more and more of these AI pods designed for specific use cases from Cisco over the next few years. So we love hearing from our customers. I wanted to bring up Jeremy and also Jono Luke to talk a little bit about some of the stuff they're doing in that space. So thank you, Jeremy.
Great to be back here with you at another Cisco Live.
And thank you, Jono. Appreciate it.
Kevin, absolutely.
And I will hand that to you.
All right, thank you. So Jono, as Kevin said earlier, there's a lot of customers and companies out there that not everybody knows. I had a chance to sit down and talk with Sumer Sports. Absolutely, both of us are huge football fans, as Kevin said also. It's amazing what you all are doing with real-time telemetry in sports. It'd be awesome for you to take the audience through what you're working on.
Yeah, so we should just turn this into a football session then.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
Well, let's talk about 11 personnel and all those things and just nerd out.
Some of the trades happening right now, right? So my name's John Luck. I'm the Chief Product Officer with Sumer Sports. Sumer Sports is a sports AI, data, and analytics company, and we focus on football. We work with the NFL, we work with the NCAA, and we're moving to work with high schools. We're a unique company, I think, in a lot of ways, and this kind of comes to some of the conversation we'll have. We're a blend of folks that have coached teams, run teams, and played on teams. So you really get that domain expertise. We have some of the smartest data science folks and analytics folks from across the league, folks that won the big data bowls, right? These are the ones that know what they're doing. They come out on top. And then folks that come from big tech like myself. I was actually at Cisco for 6 years before this gig. That combination has helped us to go really deep in ways that other vendors haven't before. Our secret sauce is AI. That's how we get the scale, the speed, and the continued stay ahead. And I'm sure we'll talk about that more in a moment. The last thing I'll just throw out, though, is the beauty of taking the approach we have and working with partners like Cisco. We started focusing on football operations, assessment of players, understanding the game. We realized we can take that same fundamental understanding and drive fan engagement. Reach out to that fan at the right time, at the right moment, with the thing that matters for them. And so it opens up a whole new plethora of opportunity for us on that same compute platform and that same solution.
Yeah, you mentioned the compute platform. I mean, how does infrastructure play a role here?
So actually, Charlie mentioned this earlier as well. AI is a scary thing right now because if you go too far, suddenly all your secrets are out there. We talk about PII, PHI, FAN, CRM data. So on-premises infrastructure lets organizations keep that secure. The other thing is cost containment. That came up in your guys' discussion as well. You've heard about runaway token consumption. And so our work with the Cisco team, with organizations and customers, they can plan around that. Now they won't have bills showing up after the 7 events that past week. Oops, we just blew $1 million and we have nothing to show for it. So that's been a big part of the conversations and why our partnership's been really powerful.
Well, it's kind of interesting the way you talk about it. AI kind of works until it doesn't. And so like, how do you actually manage that? You build these applications, you want to put these models in production, but making sure that they're actually providing that value and they don't run out of control.
Yeah, and actually, I'll jump in even with one more fact. The thing that we do differently, and this will matter a lot, is we're not just an LLM. We're not just something off the shelf. We, a couple of folks from Sumer and myself, we were in a room with some of the leading AI and sports companies out there. One particular organization said, I have 5 licenses for every single employee in the IT group for every single LLM vendor, and I still can't solve my problem. So what we say is we are specialized AI, right? We are built to serve specific functions. That means that you're not running the general LLM token burn. You are focused on solving the actual problem and fit for purpose. That's one part. And the second part is modeling out how you run. So knowing the problem you're trying to solve, that's why it isn't general, it's specific, it's verticalized and domain specific. That helps a lot as well. And
anything else you would like to share with us about what Sumer's up to and where you're headed?
Yeah, I kind of mentioned this. I think our roots are in the football, the team side, right? Helping with rosters and assessment of players. The fan engagement, as Charlie was talking about, world is continuing to grow. Football, big passion of all of ours, is one of the leading entertainment industries in the world, right? That's just American football. We talk about global football, all these other sports. There's so much growth potential. And one of the reasons why we're having some of the conversations we are with yourselves and our customers, AI is a tool to help you scale, right? It can give you the real-time understanding of the game. So I can reach out to the casual fan, which is more of a descriptive, did you see that? This hasn't happened since 2005. And you can get to what we call the diehards or the sickos, right? Who want that really deep, nitty gritty. Like, we're going to tell you a fact you did not know. You're going to walk in dinner and then you're going to blow everyone away with that. Or you can hit them up with an offer, right? You know what? Great field goal right there. Let's throw a jersey out there for something. It gives you that range of things you can do to engage that fan and drive revenue as well, because at the end of the day, all of this is business.
Yeah, that's what I would like to see, is those dashboards that you shared with me, being able to be tied into what I'm watching when those replays of games, the week later, because I want to watch who my team's playing the next week. Yeah. Because I'm probably in that sicko category that you just
we talk about fantasy football daily, even the weekly, season longs, right? I want that now. I want to be talking to my friends. I want to be boasting about how I made a better pick and I sat the right guy and started the right guy. All that is real time. And that's part of what we do in season, right? For all the consumers and fans, you can access that. But I think it changes the nature of how people enjoy the game. There is the game, but now there's everything else as well. And I can pick what I want to engage in when. Secret of mine, sometimes I'll actually use Sumer's technology to follow a game while I'm watching another game, right? And because it's real time and it's breaking it down into things I need to know, I can actually take in maybe in a different sport, right? So these are the things that'll make, I think, a very different fan experience for us all in 2, 3, 5 years.
Well, and that's why we love bringing you on to share some of your use cases, because you could see how that could apply to non-sporting use cases, to retail, to consumers in other areas. And so it's great to hear about experiences you're having, what you're doing well, and what problems you kind of ran into and how you solved them. So thank you.
And thank you for coming up here and taking us through it. We're going to spend the last few minutes wrapping up, and what a great story.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right, Kevin. Well, you took us through AI-compatible solutions. And so as we build on top of that, right, we want to really focus on those outcomes that you talked about, whether that was the manufacturing outcome or the sports ones that we talked about earlier. And we want to make it super simple because that's just the beginning. We can help diagnose the infrastructure. We can help do all those things we've done, from validated designs to AI pods to secure AI factories to AI compatible solutions to work with the ISVs. But that doesn't mean it makes your jobs easier to deploy them. And so if you see all these things up on the screen, there's hundreds of steps, a lot of tickets that go into something like a ServiceNow, probably a lot of coffee, maybe a few late nights that go into getting this infrastructure stood up. And it shouldn't take 12 weeks to get the infrastructure stood up. And we're not just talking about AI solutions, we're talking about anything that you want to deploy in your data center. And so, reducing the number of tools and configurations that are required and reducing those number of handoffs was the challenges that our team was giving ourselves when we said, hey, let's figure out how to solve these problems for customers and make your lives a lot easier. And that's where we landed on what we wanted to announce today, which is stack automation with quality. And to take a step back and look at it, what we're doing is we're taking all those little dots you saw on the previous screen and codifying it and putting it into a blueprint. And then that blueprint can be deployed in just a simple few clicks. And that includes network, compute, storage, all those things that were on your chart at the beginning. So it's a very lot of complexity that we pull out of the system for you to get up and running in a matter of hours versus a matter of weeks. And we don't have a ton of time, so we're going a little bit quick, but there's a lot of partnerships that we're bringing to bear here as well, whether from it's Red Hat to VMware to any of the stacks and the logos that you see up on the screen. And being able to deploy these for you very quickly and very seamlessly, you have a blueprint that you can start on, like I said, in a few clicks. But at the same time, you can take that blueprint and you can customize that or add to it as well. So it can be your specific blueprint for your specific application, whether that's in the data center or all the way out to the edge. So we're really excited about this.
It took me a little bit to understand this, but that was kind of the takeaway I had for myself was, if you think about how you would do a cloud deployment where you're putting all these different pieces together, you build your own little recipe for how you want to see a particular service roll out. And then if you're an IT administrator and you want to roll it out for a large scale for a lot of people, you have that little box you can click. That's the use case, and you can roll it out in mass and at scale.
Yep.
So as you're going from pilot to production, you can do it in a lot simpler way.
Absolutely. This is that service catalog that you've been asking for that aligns with all the tools you've been using with Cisco. And small point, I think a lot of people saw Cisco Cloud Control this morning. This will be tied right into Cisco Cloud Control and Cisco Cloud Control. All right. So with that, Kevin, I think this is you.
Yeah, so I think the gist or the takeaway that we wanted to have was, although we've only been at this for a few years with large-scale rollout of AI technologies, we're starting to see some of the challenges our customers are having in putting these things together and rolling them out at scale. We are seeing a lot of pilots that start, a lot of promise, a lot of interest, and they fade away because customers are struggling with that scale out and that moving from pilot to production. And so the concept of having smaller, easier to consume components like an AI pod, having something like the stack automation stuff that you just talked about with quality so that you can roll this stuff out, enables us to get the infrastructure up and running so you can focus on some of the really interesting applications like our guest talked about today, and bringing your data and bringing it to action and rolling it out in production at scale. So we want to be able to help you increase your confidence, increase your speed, and jointly move faster together. With that, please do complete your session evaluations. We appreciate you coming and look forward to the rest of the week. So thank you.
Wow, wasn't that an amazing conversation we just had? I don't know about you, I am a huge sports fan, and just to hear how our customers are using our solutions to help drive their impact and to also show them how they can use AI to moving it from pilot to production, and we have the solution just for you. We want to be your trusted partner, and I tell you, lean in even more. You're going to be hearing about this so much more, so many sessions out there on our broadcast agenda. But before we hear from that, we're going to go to the showroom floor with my amazing and beautiful co-host, Michelle. She's going to show us what's happening out there. Michelle, what's happening out there with you?
Z, thanks for throwing it over to the show floor. We have another incredible demo with my new friend Carlos. He's the director of compute for product management here at Cisco. Welcome. We're going to dive into an awesome venue. I'm going to start out with a big question. How does stack automation by Quality, which we have here, fundamentally change the game for enterprises who want to build and deploy AI?
Well, today, standing up enterprise infrastructure and applications is just a marathon. It's like weeks of planning, dozens of handoffs, and it's maybe even hundreds of configuration steps that are all manual across network, compute, storage, and applications. So sometimes, not sure if you have seen that, sometimes it even takes months before a single workload runs. And what if we could just take that and convert it into maybe hours or minutes? That's what Stack Automation does. It's a fully automated experience that emulates the cloud for Cisco and third-party solutions.
Incredible. The value speaks for itself. Now let's dive into, give me an example of a use case where Stack Automation by Quality transforms the AI development experience.
Well, as I mentioned originally, we have both AI and traditional applications ready to be consumed directly in our catalog. So what you see here in Stack Automation is a solutions hub. So if you want to start deploying something as quick as maybe bare metal windows, what you have to do is just provide a name, select the targets. In this case, we're feeding everything from Intersight, so we know the qualified candidates so that we can select and deploy bare metal windows in this case. And after a few clicks, you're just done. The idea is that all the smart defaults come embedded. So think of all the Cisco validated designs, best practices, things that probably somebody down in IT only knows about. Now that's embedded in this single click experience that people can get to deploy anything.
When you get to demo this to customers, what stands out the most to them? What lands?
First of all, the time to value. Like now imagine you want Splunk for your SOC, I have to go with configuration guides, download the software, install it, and then start using it. So now, if it's the traditional applications that we were saying, like for example in this case is Splunk, or an AI application, all that is just quick and simple. What also stands out, I would say, in addition to have Splunk in just a few seconds or minutes, is having the ability going back to your AI topic. I might want to customize any of this. So if you want, let's say, to get AI Pod, one of our full stack solutions, where we can now get to, let's say, customizing or automating network compute, storage, and software, again, all this experience will be ready to be deployed and consumed in just a matter of minutes. And this is the kind of the very, very most fundamental aspect of all this. That standing up, imagine again, configuring compute, network, storage, and then the software on top just takes weeks or months, as I was saying. So that is the very first part, like faster time to value. But the second part that is equally important, I would say, is we have also at the top toggled so that we can change it to advantage mode. So what does that really mean? If we go back to the solutions hub, you remember the catalog, right, where we have all these applications. Now you can clone any of these curated experiences so that you can add your own secret sauce to it. So this is critical and fundamental because I'm just gonna browse through just a little bit of screens here. But this is kind of what we did with a curated experience for our customers. As I told you, it has embedded best practices to, in this case, deploy, let's say, a new solution like Catalyst 8000. But now what if on top of that, I could connect my favorite agentic platform? Think of this as the embedded Copilot, or potentially some of the most popular ones out there like Claude Cowork or OpenAI Codex. And then you can just in simple English say, please automate, or on top of the validated solution, deploy this so that I can have my custom, like tailor-made type of solution. So the flexibility and the consumption model, I would say, that anyone can use this at speed is what really stands out of any solution.
Yeah, truly accelerating time to value.
Absolutely.
We're going to end on one more question. What is on the horizon for the platform here?
Well, right now we are trying to launch this to make it generally available for all Cisco customers, by the way, free of charge in the consumption model, which is I just want to click and deploy innovation by August this year. So any user, any Cisco user can simply register and then start deploying applications on their existing infrastructure day one. 3 months after, we want to create a full stack solution so that everything, including AI pods, Splunk pods, Flash stacks, Flex pods, and many of these converged bundles, that they are just purchased, and the moment you power them on, everything just comes up. That full stack solution approach is going to happen 3 months after we launch. And then all this is going to be obviously integrated as part of cloud control, and we're envisioning everything to just be ready to be deployed, as I said, in a matter of minutes.
Carlos, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Folks, come on down, see this stuff for yourself here on the show floor. Z, back to you.
Michelle, I tell you, that is some really cool automation. I tell you, if you are watching, you need to be here. I mean, there's only so much we can do from the broadcast, so you need to be here next year. You need to make plans to be here. But before we do that, Michelle, before you go, you know what? I tell you what, if you want to, I want you to engage with us. Go to hashtag Cisco Live. I tell you, we want to hear from you. Pop your questions, your answers, anything that you want to hear from our experts that are on site, ready to answer your challenges. I'm telling you, we're broadcasting from everywhere, anywhere, whether you're in the office, you're in your home office, you may be in some cool little cafe in Tokyo, you may be in a quiet space in London. We're broadcasting you from all over, and we want you to experience this for yourself. We want you to be here with us, but we're just trying to give you just a little taste of all of the energy that's going on all over this place. I tell you, it's amazing, and we want you to be here for it, and we want to answer your questions. So join the networking space. There's community. You heard in the keynote, we can't do this alone. We want to do this together. And so it's not just about bringing people together in one space. We want to connect with you. You, our community, you, our customers, our partners, our whole entire ecosystem. We want to be the trusted partner for you. And so we want you to be a part of that. And I want you to, listen, go get some water, lean in, and because we have an amazing conversation with my next co-host, Rob. Who do you have with you over on the other part of the studio?
Well, we're going to be learning all of this together as this all happens. We've got a lot of information coming all at the same time. You were telling me your name, and I've just got to admit that I could not understand, I probably would not, I don't want to butcher it. Do you mind introducing yourself?
I am Arpita Shetty, and I'm a product manager at Cisco.
Fantastic, nice to meet you. I'm Rob, by the way. Nice to meet you as well, and you have a guest with you.
Brooke, it's always a pleasure chatting with you, but do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little about your role?
Yeah, so Brock Riches, I'm a global network architect at Nutrien, and Nutrien is the world's largest crop input supplier, and we do everything from mining to logistics and distribution, all the way to the farmer, and even applying that fertilizer in the field.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So Brock, let's dive into what you do. So Nutrien is, like you described, it's a large distributed environment.
Yeah.
So what were the challenges that you faced that made you rethink about how you should, design your branch and deploy your branch?
Yeah, like you mentioned, we have many different types of business units, from mining, where we literally have potash mines that are a mile underground and the size of Las Vegas, where we are, from a footprint underground, to logistics and warehousing and our corporate offices, to retail. So we really had to come up with a solution to provide a consistent connectivity method and ensure that we could provide consistent posture and consistent experience to our not only our customers at the retail branch, but our employees who might travel between these different facilities, and ensuring that the posture follows them no matter where they go. So it's that balance of security and experience and end-to-end connectivity.
Yeah. Brock, you talk about posture a lot. Mm-hmm. So clearly security is top of mind for Nutrien.
Yeah.
How did you ensure that security was integrated? It was, like we say in Cisco, it was built in and not bolted on.
Yeah, so security for us is at the network, as well as everywhere else with every one other customer, but we want to build it into the network first and not only. So ensuring that the whole stack is posture aware and posture enforcement, from the access port that the user plugs into to the SD-WAN firewall, all the way back to the data center and workloads. Ensuring, we have consistent posture and a consistent policy, but ensuring that user experience that security doesn't impact the user experience.
Brock, ever since I've known you, I know that you are passionate about automation.
Yes.
And you use our APIs extensively.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little about how has automation changed the way you operate your branch?
Yeah, so there's two different types of automation for us. There's moving things into a controller to ensure that we have consistent deployment of our solutions. So in cloud dashboard, from SD-WAN to switching, ensuring that the platform is consistently configured. And that's down to, we think about a lot the posture that we apply to the users accessing the network, but also the security of the assets themselves, the network assets. We use controller to ensure that happens, or cloud dashboard. But then leveraging that to invoke our own automation, showing consistent implementation across our branches, ensuring that we can onboard a facility very quickly and offboard them very quickly, ensuring consistent configuration, not worrying about the device level configuration, the security of the device or that aspects, but worrying about the business outcomes and how we apply that configuration to the devices specifically.
You speak about configuration a lot, and I have to mention, with Unified Branch, we're bringing together networking, security, operations, all together in a simplified operating model. So for those of, for everybody who is watching us, for our customers who are beginning their journey to modernize their branches, what advice do you have?
I think the advice I would give is you should start somewhere. And we didn't start with doing all automation all at once. We started in little pockets and little pieces, and we're still on that journey today. So don't be afraid to start. Don't try and eat the entire cake. Take a slice out of it and start somewhere. And let it surprise you where you can end up. And it has for us. Our journey has changed. Where we thought we're automated and where we were going to go has changed over the last 5-10 years. And I'm sure it will continue to change even after what we learned here from Cisco Live. But foundationally leveraging Unified Branch and the foundational components of that, you can build on foundational components and layer them as you go. Again, you don't have to worry about implementing it all at once.
Yeah, that's great advice, Brock. It's always a pleasure chatting with you.
You too.
I'm so glad that we met today and did this.
Yes.
Thanks, Brock.
This is fantastic, guys. You know what I love is I just always love the reality that everyone is a technology company these days, and hearing the way you are synthesizing things together to make life easier and really prepare for an uncertain future. I think it bodes well for all of us. Thank you guys for taking the time. I appreciate it. And with that, I'm going to go to that camera. We'll go back over to Z.
Thank you so much, Rob. You know, we all want things just a tad more easier. And I just want to ease on back over to our World of Solutions on our showroom floor, over to Michelle. Michelle, who do you have with you?
Z, it's great to be back here on the World of Solutions. We're bringing you some excellent interviews and demos all today. I'm back with my friend Eric in AI-ready data centers. We're going to talk about all things AI-ready. So, of course, what does that actually mean? So we see AI-ready data centers, organizations want to adopt. What does that actually mean? And why are legacy infrastructure struggling to keep up?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. And we know that customers have made huge investments into data centers over decades. So now what's happened with the rise of agentic AI is all of that infrastructure simply cannot keep up with the always-on demand for more computing power, for more resources that the agentic AI revolution is bringing to bear. During the keynote this morning, you saw G2 show you the graph of what does agentic AI actually look like versus the generative AI where it was very spiky in human level traffic. Now it's this always-on 24/7 agents doing all of the work all the time. And so you have to have infrastructure that's been designed from the ground up to be able to do that. So Cisco, as the critical infrastructure for the AI era, has brought together all of the elements that you need to build an AI-ready data center so that customers can take advantage of all the opportunities that are ahead of them, whether that be revolutionizing their business model, keeping up with all of the updates that are happening in the agentic AI era, to really make sure that their business is ready to capture all the opportunity that's ahead of them. And so we've really, right here on the show floor here, we've got everything that you would need, from all the way down to the unified edge device that can really be deployed anywhere, like coffee shops, manufacturing floors, that allows us to push the AI computing power all the way out to the edge, and then all the way back up to the secure AI factories and AI pods that Cisco has brought together all the pieces for those what you think of as a more traditional data center. Because what's really happening right now is customers are redefining what is a data center, where does the inferencing need to happen, and how far does it make sense to have workloads take a round trip to get back to the data center. So no matter what stage of your AI journey you're on, Cisco can help you with the infrastructure that has all of those critical components integrated already.
Absolutely. Let's talk about how Cisco is uniquely qualified to help you get ready for this AI era, as you put it. So Cisco really is that only vendor that brings together networking, security, compute, observability into one stack. What does that full stack approach mean in this era?
Yep, you took the words right out of my mouth, because we are really the only vendor that's brought all of that together, complete with our own custom silicon with Silicon One that you heard this morning as well. So that ability to bring together the network, the security, the observability, the compute, really gives customers that ease of management that they can't get by trying to put all those pieces together themselves. That's what customers tell us all the time. Like, they are tired of being in the business of being the integration layer between compute, between storage, between networking. So now Cisco has taken it upon ourselves to be able to solve that problem for customers with deployments that, like I said, span from the edge all the way back to the data center in a way that gives them total control over their AI future, as well as the ability to kind of customize it for whatever needs that they really have and what they want to do going forward. So that integration layer, as Cisco's taken on that role, everything down from, like I said, the silicon all the way to the optics, really gives customers the ability to take advantage of all this promise and opportunity that's ahead of them in one easy one-stop shop.
I love that. This is something that we could talk about forever.
Yes, we can.
Let's end on one last question before I'm sure I'll meet you later this week as well for a couple more. But how does integrating security and observability directly into the infrastructure, rather than just bolting it on, how does that change how customers do their job and kind of use AI?
Absolutely. One of the key problems that we hear from customers is when you try to add security gateways and security layers on top of your AI infrastructure, it creates enormous amounts of latency, which you cannot have in the agentic AI era. So the only way you can really solve that problem is with things like security fused into the network, the smart switch capabilities that we've brought to bear inside the AI-ready data center, so that customers can know that their AI workloads are both secure and observable, as you mentioned. As we talked earlier about the need for tokenomics, like, AI has totally gone from what had been a little bit of a science project and like, oh, this is a cool, interesting thing, down to like major business operating system capability. So what now boards and CFOs are asking is, hey, we've invested in all these GPUs, what's the ROI of that? So with that observability built in, you can answer the question of how utilized are your GPUs? Are there any bottlenecks in your infrastructure as you set it up today? And be able to quickly and easily route around any of those problems to take advantage and maximize your investment in what is very expensive AI hardware. And so with all that capability brought together, customers are really on the rocket ship to new possibilities with the AI-ready data centers that Cisco has brought to bear.
Eric, I've been told we have even more time to spend right now.
Oh, sounds good.
Well, what I want to end with, and what I want folks to really drive home, is when you're here talking to folks on the show floor, you already talked through a handful of value props, but what really resonates, what stands out the most when you're having these conversations in person?
I think it's a lot of what you heard this morning in the keynote, where Cisco has been able to bring together all of the parts that give customers the confidence to start to experiment and to start to move on, to know that we're not only securing agents from the world, we're securing the world from agents as well. Because you've heard stories in the news where sometimes without that integrated security, observability, networking capabilities, things can get a little out of hand. And so what customers really want to know is that with Cisco, with the investment you make in an AI-ready data center with Cisco, you have that confidence to go forward, to know that you're not only secure, but you have the best workloads that you can possibly have. And our partnership with NVIDIA for the Secure AI Factory has really shown that we are the premier provider in this space, and that customers know that they can have that trusted, reliable, 40-year history of working with Cisco experience and have the same cutting-edge technology they get from vendors like NVIDIA, all rolled up into one package. So all of that together really shows why Cisco is the critical infrastructure for the AI era, and how we're starting to fuse security and networking together has really started to make it so they don't have to think about these things in silos as much anymore, where, you know, when something goes wrong, people start pointing fingers or swivel chairing. Now with all of that security, networking, observability, and compute integrated as one, you really have solved a lot of those problems for customers. So that's what we're hearing a lot on the floor, on the show floor today, and the power of Silicon One really just puts the cherry on top of all this stuff.
That's what we love to hear. Eric, thank you for your time. Excited to talk to you throughout the week.
Absolutely.
See, back to you.
Thanks so much, Michelle. You know what? The question on the floor right now is your AI data center, is it ready? You know what? I tell you what, folks, we're just going to keep the momentum going. But before we do that, check this out.
When it comes to AI, there's something big happening. The smallest things are creating giant revolutions. At Worldwide Technology, we're at the forefront of AI. With our one-of-a-kind AI proving ground, cyber range, and full-stack approach, you can build, test, protect, and implement AI solutions that deliver for you and your customers in a big way. Worldwide Technology. Together, let's make a new world happen.
Excellent. Talk about a segue. They just played a video that introduced your company and just I have trouble enunciating all the things Worldwide Technology does, but hey guys, welcome. I'm Rob Boyd. I have my guest, Robert Geis.
Yes, Robert Geis.
Make sure I get your title here correct because it's Field CTO Global Cyber for Worldwide Technology.
Yeah, you know what we're seeing? We have a Field CISO org. We also have a cyber advocacy org, so a lot of folks that were heavily involved, such as Rob Joyce, former director of NSA, is one of our cyber advocates.
Smart guy.
We kind of fit in the middle, that we can go a little broader on the technology aspects, but myself, I was a former CISO, so former operators, people who felt the pain in the field as well, that understand some of the technology and how we can come in and help.
Oh, see, I don't have all that reality, so I could just say this is what you need to do, and have But it's good to know exactly what does it really take, and this is what I want to talk to you about because we were just chatting earlier, and this has come up across the conference. Mythos first came out from Anthropic. It was the first time when I noticed that they were pulling back something commercial, and I was like, this is strange. Got into it, and I go, oh, okay, this is legitimately scary, and it was only in April. Can you explain for anyone that may not be familiar, how do you explain what Mythos is and why we need to care?
Yeah, at a very high level, what scared everybody about Mythos was its incredible capabilities and its effectiveness. In a way, it was, they talk about champagne was a happy accident. This was the unhappy accident when Anthropic came out with their new model. They were designing this so that, again, they see software writing and code generation as a huge aspect for AI. So they really trained this model well. This is one of the newer frontier models. So this is built from the ground up where guys like you and I that have never written code, we could come in and be great code writers leveraging a model like this. Well, all the skills it takes to know what good code is, to go scan that code for security vulnerabilities, everything they were trying to do from the positive side, you now had this incredibly capable weapon to go find vulnerabilities because that's what it was designed to go do from a greater standpoint. It was never designed to be an offensive security tool. Right. This just happens to be one of its incredible
capabilities. Well, that's what's so scary, right? These emergent capabilities that we come across. This one, obviously, a big deal. It led to the creation of Project Glasswing, and but what I find interesting about this is that it's still a lot of times about the same lessons that we're trying to impart. And I want to set a foundation. We can talk a little bit more about Mythos, but at Worldwide Technology, you guys are very good, in my opinion, this is how I see you guys, is you have certainly deep relationships with both Cisco and a lot of other vendors, and you kind of take that collectively and then rise above the noise on behalf of your customers to kind of string together answers that don't involve, for lack of a better way to put it, I think sometimes vendors speak. And it's great when they align, and they do often align, but tell me about this 12-point framework that you guys have developed and how that fits to provide some relief of that anxiety there.
Sure, part of it is, it kind of just makes sense for us to come up with something like this because I mentioned the cyber advocates that we have, field CISOs, but we're so much broader. We are at the intersection, we're not a pure play security OEM. We see things holistic because we are a huge partner of Cisco's as well as many others, but we also serve 85 of the Fortune 100. Right. So it's a little bit like I think it's the Farmers commercial where they cover a lot of things because they see a lot of things. Yeah. We see a lot. And because of that, we work together with other members of the Cloud Security Alliance, SANS, a lot of different governing bodies. So we didn't just rush out and throw something together that looks like something good. We soaked this. So we soaked this for about 3 weeks through a lot of different expert committees and came up with this. We call it a 12-point response framework. This isn't step 1 through 12. You don't follow these chronologically.
Right. Yeah.
But the whole purpose of this was we just saw such a need to get something that the operators could go to market with. Like, I got to figure out what to go do because friends and neighbors, my neighbors, I'm in a little cul-de-sac, we've been there 20 years, and when my neighbor is out mowing and he stops and he goes, so tell me about Mythos.
Oh my gosh. Boy, we've jumped some kind of shark.
It shows that we're in a whole different operating world. And the point of the framework really, you could break it down to 3 subsections.
Okay.
The first 8 parts of the framework are a lot of the things that we've been talking about doing anyway when you think about the transition to zero trust networking. Mm-hmm. But a lot of it has to do with the pace. There's a whole new shift here with the ability to come and not just discover vulnerabilities. In fact, the most critical piece that you could go do with Mythos and other tools like it is the ability to go discover a lot of the lower level vulnerabilities, chain these intelligently, and now you have to deal with exploits that in the past wouldn't have even hit your radar.
Yeah, this sounds like multi-turn security issues that Cisco had in a recent report, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's a whole different ballgame.
And unfortunately, I kind of use this analogy, maybe overused it. It's a little bit like the Terminator, right?
Yeah.
When T2 came out, they couldn't put another human in front of the Terminator. They knew you got to have another Terminator to fight a Terminator.
So this is the AI for AI thing.
So those first 8 parts of the framework are a lot of fundamentals around cyber resiliency, segmentation, rapid recovery, a lot of things that a lot of SecOps teams have probably been trying to go do. There's a new urgency together with it.
Yeah.
But that next bullets, 9 and 10, really focus a lot on leveraging AI. You're going to have to go figure out how to use AI to defend against this. And we're seeing a huge interest across the board. In fact, I've been a freak. I already travel a lot. I've been a frequent traveler.
Yeah.
Myself.
I thought you said I've been a freak. I'm like,
I've been
okay, go on.
No,
Sorry.
not that bad.
Frequent traveler, I should.
Yeah. And what we're seeing across the board,
Yeah.
every vertical, everybody wants to go talk about this, and it's board level conversations.
Yeah. And it needs to be.
100%.
Yeah.
And we've heard people compare it to a little bit to Y2K, where you said, look, this is the old world order.
I wish it was Y2K.
That we had a lot more time to prep for Y2K.
Yeah, and it was a big nothing, thank gosh. But what I like, though, you mentioned standards before, and this is standards-based. You're not trying to reinvent the wheel, but what I see you guys doing, and again, correct me if I've got this wrong, is that you're leveraging existing standards that are very well respected and followed in their domains, but what you do is also, because it has a top-down effect that is cross-domain, is you're saying, how do we apply these very smart, intelligent, proven in the field things, but make it work within the reality, like you mentioned, being a customer of, well, we still have a business to run. We still have to keep things going, keep the lights on. Is that a fair way to kind of put how that comes together?
100%. And the bottom line is, we've mentioned this in the past. At this speed, vulnerability patching can no longer be the primary objective. So you've got to find other methodologies to buy you time. At the end of the day, part of what we've done with this framework is also aligned it with some of our service capabilities. When I say that, this is where I'm seeing people go right to the board. It's like, look, if I knew I've got a backlog, how do I go burn this backlog? Let's go figure out from that top 8, what are those big priority issues? Cyber resiliency is a huge play for us. We come in, we help you, frankly, even identify some of your assets.
Yeah.
Then we ask questions that you mentioned earlier that as a third party, we can ask questions that maybe in-house are politically motivated.
I think you need someone like that from the outside. I've only got about 30 seconds left, but I'm just curious, if anyone watching this now, what is your message to security leaders looking at the next 30 days? How should they address that urgency? What kind of first steps should they be looking at?
100%. We've put together something we call the Frontier Model Accelerator. Okay. And think of it very simply. We show up, we bring in an expert, we do some quick discovery about your current capabilities, but part of that's also onboarding so you understand what the attacker can go see. So we have some third parties we're working together with.
Learning there,
Yeah, so we can actually essentially help identify those new exploits. It's no longer patching vulnerabilities, it's what can I do to manage exploits? But part of that assessment is also including a full inventory, at least of the tools that you have. So then we could dig deeper and just say, look, is there some immediate gaps just from a fundamental, irrespective of how you configured or how you licensed, do you even have something there that could be part of this kill chain?
Yeah.
Because the new world order is going to be, you got to figure out new ways to stop these exploits.
Absolutely.
And part of this, that's a big pivot for most companies that are not prepared for, is deceptive operations, honeypots, things like that, canary in the coal mine type things. So that,
seeing that
you're buying time.
I've got to go. Speaking of which, we're running out of time here. Robert, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. I appreciate the work you guys are doing. This is a fast-moving space. You've got to stay on top of it, but the time to take action is definitely now. Worldwide's here to help you. Z, I'm going to throw it back to you.
Thank you so much, Rob and Robert. What an engaging conversation. We're so excited to hear everything that you've been talking about. As we prepare to go over to our center stage, they're going to be talking about trust and compliance in the AI era. I know you're ready to hear that. They're going to be sharing with some insights about how we keep our infrastructure, how we keep our systems and our apps secure and compliant. I tell you, we're going to hear some real world examples on how to minimize risk. And so over to the center stage, let's lean in.
Good afternoon. So I thought I would start with a story. Now you've got your headsets on. I'm going to start with the story. A few weeks ago, my 10-year-old said, "Dad, can I borrow your laptop or can I access your Claude account?" I was like, yeah, sure. And off she went. 2 hours later, she said, "Mummy, Daddy, sit on that sofa." I was like, uh-oh, here we go. And she said, "I'm going to pitch you a new idea I've got. You always talk to me about how I need to do chores, so I would like to introduce to you my new chore subscription business." She then shared my laptop screen to the TV, and there was a marketing page. There was a bronze, silver, gold, and platinum subscription on a monthly fee basis. And she said, I suggest you start with the gold. When Nanny's going to come to our house, I will allow you to flex up to the platinum subscription because I know you've got to do lots of work to make her happy. And in there was a price point and how much cheaper per chore things were going to get. And she said to me, "Mummy, I know what you're thinking. Every little girl has mandatory chores. Don't worry, that's included in the bronze subscription." She then said, "Dad, because you love me, you're going to go and subscribe to my gold subscription package." So she asked me to put my email address in. We created a little account. I then got an email notification for congratulations. I've now spending, about $10 a month on this subscription business. I can then pick the chores like clean a car, walk the dog, all those different items. She then showed me logging into her admin portal where she could ask more questions, she could reject or accept a job. And the thing that clinched it for me, there was a button that said Revenue Portal. She could click on Revenue Portal and look at how much money I owed her and our projected spend. Now, she is 10. She doesn't know how to code. She does a bit of drag and drop coding, but you start to get to the idea into that creative mind, the trouble I'm going to be at home over the next decade with her creativity and what AI is going to produce, but what the possibilities of this era we're in are going to be able to do. And it's a wonderful thing. And whilst joking aside, 10, and about 2 hours later, she had a fully functioning e-commerce subscription. Now, she hadn't heard about cybersecurity or PIR data or anything like that, but it worked. Taking that a step further, my other half, my wife, is an anesthesiologist and intensive care consultant. And about 6 months ago, there was an incident at work where the e-prescription system wasn't working. And she's like, "No problem. Let's go and move back to handwritten prescriptions." And because we're in the US, I understand actually there's this huge thing called the PITs. And this isn't stolen as an episode from there. Apparently it's the same. She's like, "Let's go back to a paper-based system." But this is where the fragility of resilience starts to come in. The junior doctors looked at her and said, "How? How do I write a written prescription?" They had never written a written prescription because in the UK for about the last decade, everything is completely digital in the way they do things. So she had a solution for it, but we've gone so far digitized that solution actually is no longer credible anymore. Digital is that priority. So the knock-on effect for that day was they first had to go and teach people, so nothing was happening for an hour. Then they had to get that piece of paper to the pharmacy. So they essentially had to go and find a human to go and run down the corridor to go and give that prescription to someone. And that had a massive impact on people like you and I that were sat there waiting with our hospital gown on to go and have our procedure, go and have our operation, or telling our loved one it's okay. So it's not just an IT priority, it has profound impacts on people and what's going to go and happen. So that needs a real radical rethink of digital resilience and how we think about the recover from failure. And so we've done some research on this. Just the cost, the direct cost of businesses at the moment, we look at the Fortune 2000, is around about a $600 billion problem. It is a massive issue when something goes wrong. We've seen things happen in hospitals. You see it at home. My biggest fear this week with our smart home automation is something doesn't work and I've got to log on and remote fix it. It has an impact. Things will go and break. But exacerbating to that is the amount of data that's being generated. We hear about the pluggable optics that we can do at Cisco, the latest chips being able to take over 100 terabits per second of data through. Now, when I started at Splunk 13 years ago, we were talking about data volumes in the gigabytes. Now we're talking about data volumes in the terabytes and petabytes. We've got customers asking us, can in about the next 5 years, you scale for extra maybe 5, 10, 20 petabytes of new data per day to go and get in. Now, all of that is going to be human generated. So the architecture we're now thinking about is no longer about software, no longer about data. It's this combined data center, network, silicon, infrastructure, network and pluggables with application and the data behind it. Physics is starting to get in the way of data monitoring. We also then have the context gap. Very rarely do we have clean organizational data to be able to go and think about how I look at the totality of all of the information that I have to go and make a decision. What does this data actually represent? Is this a human interaction? Is it machine-to-machine interaction? How am I going to go and deal with this? And then lastly, the really complicated part, the trust and governance gap. So I can talk about rapid data, I can talk about context, but ultimately, this kind of machine world needs a human solution to it. How do I think about governance? When I disagree to something, the computer spits out the answer's 42 and we're going to make a decision off the back of it. And I say, no, I fundamentally disagree with what that's saying. What do I do next? If I'm relying on that critical system, what is my run book as an IT organization, as a CISO, as a CIO, to think about what do we do when we disagree with what a machine's doing? A lot of people like myself will talk on stage and say this. You have a lot of talks at the moment around the agentic era. Actually, for me, this is around the human era on how I pre-think all of those different scenarios so I can overcome that trust and governance gap behind it and go and work those things through. There are two axes I can think about bringing in kind of smarter systems. One is a technology axis. The other one is an operating model integration. And I can only automate and make myself autonomous in certain parts until I think about what do I do when I disagree? How do I go and bring teams together? How do I go and bring common understanding to leverage all of these smart systems? And as my daughter's proved, we're at that beginning of being able to go and rethink everything we're doing in the world today. At home, we're starting to experiment with agents. There is now an industry for humans when we have agents that aren't able to go and complete tasks. So in the UK, our road system's not the best. We have these things, I'm going to teach you an English word, potholes. Basically, craters in the roads that we want to go and fix. Agents can go and look at traffic cameras, they can look at reports, everything like that. But occasionally, there'll be a remote area of the UK where we can't go and monitor that autonomously. There are websites out there for humans to be employed by agents to go and use their eyes and go and be the extension of the human operating system. And so we're getting that change of the AI-driven enterprise. We're getting more of human-to-human interaction. I'm currently writing my own chief of staff in an agent. And one of my team said, cool, I'm doing the same. I wonder if our little agents, our chief of staffs, when you want to nag me on a Thursday for the update for your report you want to send to your manager on a Friday, why don't we see if we can get our chief of staff to autonomously go and do that? It's like, this sounds awesome. So we're starting that kind of change in working relationship at work, the change in how we start to think about that working practice, and that explosion of the possibilities that are going to go and become. You hear the stat, 1.3 billion agents expected in operation by 2028. That is a phenomenal amount of things doing work on our behalf. Now think about the change in your infrastructure. Let's start with home. We've all heard of OpenClaw. You can't buy a Mac Mini at the moment. The lead time for a Mac Mini is probably 12 to 13 weeks as we have gone on that journey of home automation. What's the implication of that? One, infrastructure at home is starting to go and increase. Network speeds are starting to go and increase. Computational speeds are increasing. Before, when I was cold at home, I got off the sofa and I walked to the thermostat and I turned it until it clicked and I sat back down again. Then we got into the era where companies like Hive, I could do it from my phone. Now I'm at the era where I could probably send a WhatsApp to OpenClaw to say, I'm cold, go and figure it out for me. And so it's constantly monitoring in the background, creating usage. Now think about when we have 1.3 billion agents at work. There was some research that Cisco published about 2 to 3 years ago on the impact of the agentic world. So at work, think about the thermostat, very similar to a chatbot experience. I have a task in hand. I'm going to go into chatbots or go into a system and ask it to do something. So I get a spike in request. Now, as you've heard, I'm building my chief of staff. I'm kind of using my developer background to increase my laziness at work. Things are working on my behalf. So the network traffic of tomorrow It's no longer spiky. It is at 80, at 90%, at a constant fill rate. The same with CPU load, GPU load. So already the implications of this isn't really about agents. It's about how I re-architect my entire infrastructure to go and handle what is a very different workload for the future. So that ends up with a resilience problem. And so we end up in this instance with a resilience paradox. The more I'm going to go and use technology to make me more resilient, potentially the more brittle I actually become as I start to go and use systems to overcome other systems. I actually have interdependencies much more. Before, when I had an IT failure and email went down, that was an excuse to give up work, go to the pub for lunch, and then check to see whether I can start to do work now. Now, I have interdependencies between everything. I have it between when something goes wrong in observability, that might be introducing a security flaw. When I have something going through in security, that's definitely something I've got to go and monitor in observability. It's going to be really a business impacting event. So I've got to look at the implications from a business operations point of view. When I start to go and get load on the network, that's going to put load on my applications. It might actually expose security vulnerabilities. Ultimately, it's going to impact that business. I have a really complicated web of interdependencies now in an organization. So for me, the most interesting thing that I'm working on at the moment is notion of the resilience paradox and what that means to go and solve it. So going back to what I was saying earlier, it is, sure, I can try and automate and make things more autonomous with technology. And, we're at a massive technology conference this week. But if I don't think about the operating models and how I start to go and bring in ways of working, regulation, compliance, challenge orthodoxies on how I get these different teams working together, that resilience paradox is going to go and be here to go and stay. So on that journey, there are some fundamentals that we have to think about. First, we need to be foundational. So if I think about what resilience means to me, resilience is two things. One is I need to go and have awareness of everything that happens in my environment. If I can't see what's happening, I can't do anything about it. So step one for resiliency is awareness of everything that's happening. Step two is, do I have the ability to appropriately react? So now a foundational capability is, can I go and bring all of that telemetry in? And can I do that at what we might say internet scale, or kind of scales of petabytes of data per day, and do that in a cost-sensitive way? Then when I go to the next step, how do I start to go and bring decision-making into that? If any of you work in security, 3 to 5 years ago, we started talking about security, automation, orchestration, and response. It sounded really cool. There was a reason why every tech vendor you would ever meet said, let's talk about phishing. And the reason why we use phishing is one of the very simple things in security that I could have a consistent runbook that pretty much every organization agreed on. When I think about my agentic world, and I want to bring in augmented decision-making, I want to bring faster decision-making, we actually come back to an uncomfortable truth, which relies on people having a consensus around how an organization actually works. So we start to go and think about, how do I go and bring agentic decision-making in? Really comes back to, well, how does my organization think, and how am I going to go and monitor for that? Then I can eventually, when I can unlock that, I can start to go and build in that proprietary advantage. But I can't go and do all of that if I can't go and see all of that data. So the way I think about data is, think about a digital exhaust. Think about this kind of fumes that are being pushed out every time I click this button, anytime something moves on the screen, anytime someone's connecting to the Wi-Fi. A digital exhaust is being generated by systems, whether that's a metric, an event, a log, or a trace. And I've got to be able to do this at a phenomenal amount of data. I've got to trust it to go and make good decisions. I'm having to move away from known and trusted data into, how do I think about data? And I might not know where the data lives or what's generating it, but can I still trust it? Think about digital sensors in a data center. Can I actually say, can I use enough context around this stream of data to say, yeah, I do believe that's a temperature sensor in that data center, and I can trust that data because I can find evidence of context that sits around that temperature sensor to say that's actually a reliable data source. So that's the way we're going to have to start thinking about working with data. And this is where we are working on and kind of introducing the Cisco data fabric powered by the Splunk platform. To go and get data in, I can't just go and put that into a fast rare term index. I've got to think about my data architecture, whether it's from very voluminous data sources like networking or application logs, infrastructure, or third party, being able to put things in a low cost storage machine data lake to be able to go and put any data in and just have it stored there. I can still search it. Just like when you touch on an iPhone, you don't think about how you go and interact underneath. The consumer experience is still a search, it's still an interaction, but I can go and use that on vast data stores. If I need that to be fast and online, I can put it into a Splunk index. I can also run this in a federated search. We're getting to the point where we're going to be able to not bring data into a single location. I want to be able to bring in context, search machine data lakes, search things like Snowflake for business data to add context to it. When I get that kind of data repository, that data substrate, I now need to go and add context on top of it. Where does that data come from? Can I extract identifiers from it to go and say, hey, this is an IP address. An IP address can be analyzed with known vulnerability. It can be taken with an identity. It can be actually merged with a machine. So I'm going and helping out a human by adding context to all those different data sources. And then finally, I can actually go and make that actionable. So this is great, but the way I want to be able to interact with that system is just like my 10-year-old. I am working, we have this amazing event at .conf, the Splunk conference happening in the fall this year called Boss of the SOC. It is there to go and find the kind of the infiltrators, it's a capture the flag type of mechanism, and AI at the moment is banned from that. I'm on a petition with my team who run that to go and say it really should be boss of the SOC, but also beat the executive. So I want to be there with a couple of my sales peers using technology like AI Canvas, where I can use natural language to go and search. We shouldn't have to go and look at search language. Sure, it's really powerful, but thinking about the abstraction layer, I can see at the bottom this data fabric, go and access data no matter where it lives at internet scale. Then what I need to be able to go is be able to add context and insights into that, go and add skills like security and observability context to it. But actually, when I really want to interact with it, I want to just be able to search. Now, a confession, I was part of the Splunk acquisition. I started my life in networking. I was not very good at networking. And this is going to be recorded now. I failed my CCNA twice, which is something I shouldn't say with pride at a Cisco conference. But now it doesn't matter, because with cloud control and with AI Canvas, I can say, hey, I have a problem in my infrastructure. My application's running slow. It can say, hey, James, I'm going to help you out here. I'm going to go and run a search in Splunk. Oh, it looks like there's a correlation between the network and the application layer. Let me now go and run a search in Thousand Eyes to go and pinpoint that. Let's go and dive into Meraki. Yeah, it's in the network layer. It's not yet cheeky enough to say, hey, James, I'm going to need you to share this with someone because I know you have no idea about networking. But it kind of can. And that's kind of the experience we want to start to go and get to, all from a unified kind of approach using Cisco Cloud Control. But I need to have multiple facets in the way I look at this. I started at the beginning with the resilience paradox. The more I add into technology to go and solve it, the harder it goes to become. Now, when I think about an observability world, I need to be able to see everything from a network layer to start to think about kind of application performance management and the correlation between the application and the network, through to digital experience monitoring, bringing in security now to application security in that, network observability. But I'm now going to have to go and cope with terms like tokenomics. When I go and run a query with my agent, James's chief of staff module might be getting out of hand. How much value is this actually going giving? How many tokens is it consuming? What load is it putting on the networks? It's not just about the cost of the token. It's also about the cost of the load on the network, on the CPU infrastructure, the GPU infrastructure, the DPU infrastructure, my total stack. That is now becoming this new observability practice where I'm thinking about the total cost of ownership of anything AI feature into my organization. So it's no longer, when I started at Splunk 13 years ago, about log monitoring and infrastructure monitoring. It is now about total systems and bringing all of that together to understand how do we think about observability for AI and agentic operations. The flip side to that is every well-intended IT patch, every well-intended IT rollout potentially adds security vulnerabilities into my infrastructure. So how do we go and bring out an agentic security operations center? Well, the first step in that is that substrate, the federated search, bringing in data. How do I go and have huge voluminous compliance type data sources that I can use for AI training? Step one of any security application. Funnily enough, that's almost identical for an observability area. How do I go and think about the reuse of that data? If I find a security incident, well, what am I going to have to do? I'm probably going to have to go and speak to the IT team about a patch level. I'm probably going to have to speak to the observability team to see if this is having an impact on what ultimately matters, my customer-facing infrastructure. I then need to go and start to streamline detection. How do I bring behavioral analytics, exposure, security automation, threat analysts, traditional SIEM security analytics, so that layer of intelligence above that. Then I need to go and start to scale this out. How do I go and bring more out-of-the-box content, more detection, playbook authoring, integrated workflows, and integrating that into my environment? Having to go and bring that with threat intelligence as well, things like Talos, and being able to bring that into my infrastructure. And finally, I'm having to do this at a speed I have never seen before. So for us, this isn't just about user interfaces and being able to bring something out of the box. It's also about how do I rethink both an observability mark and a security mark. So if I go all the way back to my 10-year-old, she doesn't know how to code. She has an idea of what she wants to achieve essentially as a business owner or a new business owner that's trying to extract the maximum amount of money out of her father as possible. Should she care about observability? Not really. Should she really care about security? In principle, yes, she should. So this is where I'd like you to start to think about the last two slides. How do you think about a world where you're born observable and you're born secure? So as someone is working in that kind of more cursor Claude code landscape, they're coming up with their next creative idea. How do I actually have monitoring born out of my first step? So when Cursor goes and thinks about its plan to go and execute, when it thinks about its testing suite it's going to go and run on that code, it's already inserting logging lines, it's already capturing traces, it's already thinking about application performance management. As it goes and runs its smoke test, it's saying, hey, I've noticed actually the website I have built isn't running as performant from what I've seen in observability. Would you like me to go and refactor that? That is then starting to think about a born observable world with a security and a observability landscape. The best part, and failing a CCNA, you get bought by a networking company, like, maybe there's not a long-term future for me. When I think about this week and what we're talking about, think about the keynotes that we hear when we're starting to merge the platform approach on everything in networking, that critical infrastructure for running AI workloads, starting to go and look at how do I observe everything that I have in my infrastructure? How do I think about securing that as well? And then taking a step back and thinking about the users that a lot of us in IT are solving. They want to just be able to go and take Codex, take Claude, take ChatGPT, take whatever tooling they're working on and go and write code. They are turning into designers, they're turning into builders, and yet we are having to go and maintain the resilience of an organization that's becoming more complicated. The more I can start to think about a data acquisition strategy, which is a non-regrettable investment decision to be able to go and see anything in my environment, I have step one of being digitally resilient. Then what I can start to go and do is think about how do I go and take appropriate action. So I might spot a vulnerability. How do I then auto run the tooling available to me with iSurveillance to go and put a shield around that and protect that vulnerability out of the box? But how do I then orchestrate that with automation and bring the governance inside of it? So thinking about AI for resilience and resilience for AI, there is a vast amount just on the show floor today that you can look at a technology point of view. When you get back to the office, draw out a graph, put two axes on it. on one axis, write automation and autonomy, and have a think about how far you're going on that axis. And then what's blocking you getting further in automation? Is it actually you don't understand data context, you don't have a coherent data strategy, or you've got the beginnings of it that's not fully executed? Can you actually see all of that data? Do you get nervous because you think, well, to see all of the data, my cost is going to be phenomenal to go and actually bring all of that in? Do I need a different approach? So I'm starting to think about what are the blockers to go and get me up on that automation autonomy route on that one axis. The second axis is operating model integration. As I start to look at what are the human factors, what are the risk factors, the regulation factors, ultimately the trust factors that are stopping me bringing in ways of working in new models of integration, that operating model integration. How do I start to go and bring those in and start to mitigate them? That's where I'm thinking about things like compliance. I'm thinking about that born observable world, like the work we're doing in the recent acquisition that closed last week with Galileo. How do I go and understand what that agent is doing, that model drift, so I can now think about how do I comfortably bring that into my environment? How do I think about when I disagree with what it's doing, what am I going to do about that from an operating model point of view? If I can do both things, if I can automate and add more autonomy into my infrastructure, and I can make myself comfortable for an operating model introduction, I have the beginnings of being able to get towards an agentic enterprise. No one knows where that's really going. But on both of those axes, I can think about my non-regrettable investment decisions. Because going back to my point earlier, you're that person ultimately in the hospital, something goes wrong. I have that critical piece of infrastructure going down. I have that panic. I have the board starts to convene. We've all been there. I started off as a service owner. Something went wrong. The first thing I do, sorry, Cisco, went networks. 100% it's network's fault. Couldn't be application that I was supporting. We can move away from that. Think about AI Canvas. I can say, hey, is networks to blame? It's like, for once, no. It's actually the application stack. And I can start to go and use that common language. So that person that sat there waiting to have their operation knows there's a team behind them starting to go through and think about how do you go and overcome these problems before. We're in the world of extreme possibilities of what you can do. I think my 10-year-old has proved that. But that brings that resilience paradox, that extreme complexity to it. So take a step back when you take everything that you're going to hear at keynotes this week and all the different talks and think about how do I overcome that trust issue and bring that into my organization. You unlock that part, the automation piece comes really easy. So I hope you've enjoyed this talk. I hope this kind of sparks your imagination. I am so excited about what we're doing here this week at Cisco. I'm proud and privileged to be part of this kind of amazing wave that Cisco is doing towards this much more coherent platform approach to go and get that critical infrastructure for AI to be at the forefront of everything we're doing and overcoming that technology hurdle, taking people like myself who clearly do not understand networking and allowing me to have a common language when something goes wrong just to go and problem solve and get over that hump. So please complete the survey for the form. Have an amazing week, and thank you very much.
And welcome back for the last time today to the Cisco TV broadcast studio. We have just wrapped the final center stage session for this Tuesday on securing every layer of the AI data center. Rick Miles, Dan Wentland brought in great customers from Northwestern Medicine, from Rush University Medical Center, and talking about all the different ways that Cisco is fusing enforcement into every layer. So the hardware root of trust, DPU-powered firewalling, Kubernetes native workload protection, runtime model guardrails, agentic identity control. Such a great overview story, how we put security into literally every single layer of your AI-ready data center. I'm Steve Bolter. I'm so glad to have you with us as we head toward the end of today's broadcast. Rob is out in the middle of not only the WAS, but the showcase, and very specifically the heartbeat of the entire territory, which is the NOC and the SOC. Rob, I wanted you to give us an overview. We're going to come back out to you in a moment for a great interview in the NOC era, but right now, this is the first time that we've seen the NOC and SOC not only together as one entity, but right as the heartbeat of the showcase, and that's really where it belongs, right?
Yo, I love this. I mean, not only did they put, and stay with me, Steve, if we can. Do I need to let you go? Or
No, you're good.
Talk?
No,
okay,
go
you
for
and I
it, my
are good?
friend. Yeah, we're good.
I was just like, well, I was thinking about the same thing, right? Not only is it's just gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
And but it feels like, I don't know if we were hiding it before necessarily, that's probably not the case, but it is much more front and center. And having the NOC and the SOC together, security has always been a part of the Network Operations Center, but it's really kind of indicative of how much more of an important role that it now plays. These guys are sending data each other back and forth. We've covered this in several different ways, but I love the educational focus here. It's not just about protecting probably one of the most difficult network situations to try and protect, right? You've got the smartest network engineers in the world converging on one place, a lot of security experts who are always just seeing what they can push on, you know, and they don't mean anything by it, potentially, but this is all stuff they have to deal with. They don't have a baseline to work on, they don't have any control over those endpoints, and so that's how they have to figure out success. But not only are they running the conference, they're teaching others how to do it, and kind of building these modular systems for being able to go do it at the Olympics now, do it again at RSA and Black Hat and other conferences. I think this is the kind of stuff, the kind of leadership that we see extending out from Cisco. Your thoughts?
Yeah, you know what, Rob, what I thought was so important on this, Chuck mentioned it this morning, one of the things that he said in the keynote that I thought was really impactful, he said when the network works, nobody thinks about it. And I think by putting the NOC right in the center, what it's showing is what we are creating, what we build here at Cisco is what allows all of our customers, our partners, everybody around the world to be able to do, because if the network infrastructure is not there, none of the applications matter at all. Rob, do me a favor, hang out for a couple of minutes, my friend. I know you've got an interview coming up with Andy, but right now we're going to go back out to center stage, where Michelle has caught up with Rick and Dan for a little behind-the-scenes talk on their fantastic center stage session. Hey, Michelle.
Steve, thank you so much for sending it over to center stage. We just had an engaging session with Rick and with Dan. I'm going to hand it over to them. They are product leaders here at Cisco. We've got some fun things. We're going to talk about full stack security. Rick, I'm going to start with you. With AI significantly transforming the network security landscape via Mythos, what are the most effective strategies for stopping high volume, high velocity attacks?
Yeah, I mean, I could spend a lot of time. There's a lot of things to approach that one, but I think you have to be invested with a partner that's continuing to innovate in their detection engines to keep pace with those attacks, as well as some of the unique things that I'm sure Dan is going to start touching on here with distributed exploits and how we can harden that infrastructure. But I do think it starts with those engines. You've got to be able to pick up on these threats, these zero-day, these behavioral-based threats, these network detections themselves, not just on the endpoint. I think the network becomes increasingly important as well.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, Dan, over to you. How can we improve our network security posture through proactive defense, device hardening, and a risk-based approach to patch management?
Sure, so I think one of the really key phrases used before is high volume, right? AI is driving east-west data volumes at a level that we've never seen before. And so that's really where innovations like the Nexus Smart Switch come in, because we are able to actually bring stateful segmentation at really high data rates into every part of your data center fabric. And that allows us to really segment, understand risk from a visibility perspective, and segment workloads to reduce risk at volumes, that are at data center scale. The second thing you mentioned was around protecting the devices themselves. And that's where Live Protect comes in. It's a really big theme here at Cisco Live. Live Protect helps shield vulnerabilities on the Cisco devices themselves, right? So that you're able to eliminate that critical attack surface without requiring you to reboot or restart your network device. And that is a really game-changing capability for Cisco customers.
Thank you both, love to hear it. I have one more question for both of you. All right, we're going to end on, how will Cisco help us overcome that operational complexity of fragmented policy management across hybrid and multi-cloud environments? Hit us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is one of the key tricks. That's one of the key innovations from Cisco's perspective, is as you think of microsegmentation, that can seem complex and difficult. As you think of all of your firewalls, firewall ruling, if you think of mixed environments and hybrid networks, multi-cloud, that could become 6, 7, 8, 9 different products and technology stacks in and of themselves. So what we're building, what we've built and is available is we can abstract from all of that and deliver an intent-based policy experience that then works across this mesh. And then further build out experiences like leveraging the insights, the intelligence, the pervasive visibility to drive a more proactive policy discovery, reduce risk. It really makes that very complex thing much simpler. And that's what we're building in Cloud Control, where all of these things meet.
Yeah, and Rick talked about one really important aspect of this, which is the single pane of glass for policy in Cisco Cloud Control. The other important part that you mentioned was the multi-cloud aspect, right? If you have to solve this problem a different way for each silo, that doesn't make sense. And so part of what Isovalent, which is the company I founded, brings is a really strong story about how you have visibility and enforcement from a security perspective in cloud workloads as well. So now Cisco, owns the data center network and can provide you very rich security capabilities there, but can also provide that same policy layer that spans into public clouds. And so you've got that one security fabric, visibility, policy that spans all of it.
Thank you both for breaking this down. This was so helpful. You guys ran right off the stage to here to talk to folks at home. Thank you both so much. Steve, Rob, back to you both.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I appreciate it. Thanks to Rick and Dan as well. We're going to go right back out to Rob, back in the NOC. This time he's got Andy Phillips over there with him. So Rob, let's send it back to you, buddy.
Oh, thank you so much. I think Michelle was just nearby. She was just over here, right? Yeah. It's funny how we're so far apart, but yet so close together. Speaking of which, Andy, Michelle got to interview you earlier.
She did.
And I was like, okay, I hope he'll still talk to me. And I didn't get a chance to hear all the details there, but one thing I love talking to you about is the stories that kind of emerge from just the reality of trying to pull this off every time. When we first talked earlier in the week, one of the things you brought up was the addressing has changed, and I had kind of using much more IPv6, and we're seeing a lot more connectivity through that. And I was not sure about why that matters, and because it had both pro and con kind of effects for you. Do you mind explaining how you guys are advancing that?
Yeah, so basically our counterparts over in Europe, Cisco Live Europe, they had also done IPv6 mostly. So that's a technology that uses DHCP, DNS, and what's called NAT 6.4 conversion. Okay. And it allows clients to turn off their IPv4 stack.
Okay.
Now that presents issues because there are actually some applications out on the internet that do not have a v6 address, and one of those is GitHub, ironically. What? So how do you deal with that? Well, you have to do a NAT 6.4 conversion, and there's a whole thing that I won't go into about how all that works, because we'll be here for about an hour.
But it's awesome.
But it's awesome, and we're running that this time, and why do you do that? Well, you do it to make sure that your environment is ready to move to 100% IPv6. Why do you do that? Because you've got more address space, there's a bit more security prevalent in IPv6, it's a little bit easier to administer in certain aspects, like all of the configuration of auto-configuring clients and such alike. So it's kind of an interesting thing that we're doing, and I think there's a lot of IPv6 advocates, especially at Cisco, that love to see this. Just the stats, like what's V4 versus V6. Yeah. We've gone up to like 60% V6 this time, which it used to be 60% V4. So it's a fascinating thing to watch and give a test at a show like this.
Well, and is there, one of the things I always think, you're here and you're learning a lot on the fly, and at a certain point, of course, you bake things in and you kind of have to live with it. Do you see things happening this week that you're like, okay, on the next iteration of this is what I'm pushing for? Or do you know that going in? How much of that is feel, how much of it is advanced planning, how much of it's pressure to adopt things from the Cisco side? Because this is a real network with real issues you got to figure out.
It is. It's a mixture of all those things. I think with the mostly, we've definitely learned about how do you troubleshoot things that you haven't troubleshot before. So we'll take all of the learnings from this, which is actually grabbing the data from those clients and understanding, what data do we need to know to actually troubleshoot them. In the past, we could look at an IPv4 address, much easier to read, a little bit quicker. Now we actually had to pull data into Splunk, and we were actually able to filter it to see, for example, how many IPv6 mostly clients are there. It's a really useful stat, especially when we're talking about migration, right? So once you know that a good proportion of your clients can do IPv6 only, then you're actually going to be in a situation where you can migrate, right? And then hopefully that number's going to increase.
That's incredible. You guys are doing so much cool stuff. Once again, I always run out of time and we don't get to cover everything I want to. But guys, this is fascinating. These guys have been answering questions and very direct. I talked to a number of different customers who were literally here taking ideas back with them. If you're not doing that, you're really wasting a resource. He's got a fantastic team behind him. They've got a NOC event at the end of the week you don't want to miss if you want to ask questions of everybody about what happened here. one of my favorite things in the entire week. With that though, Steve, I'm going to go back to you.
Pal, and thanks to Andy. Andy always does such a great job for us, so hopefully we can hear more from him. We are getting ready to wrap an amazing Tuesday broadcast day coming to you from Mandalay Bay here in Las Vegas, but we are going to meet you right back here on the live stream. First thing tomorrow morning as we ramp up into our day 2, our Wednesday morning keynote. Liz Santoni, Jeetu Patel talking about how we go from agentic vision to enterprise reality and all the ways Cisco is delivering the critical infrastructure for the AI era. Before we sign off, I want to get one more moment with 3 of my 4 amazing co-hosts for a last word of the day. Lauren is actually out in the keynote space prepping with G2 for tomorrow's keynote. So exciting. She's going to be up there running a demo, which is terrific, but I've got 3 of my fave people. You know what? I've got Z, Michelle, Robert all lined up. Z, let's start with you. Give us your parting thought for the day. We'll go down the line.
Well, the highlight for me, Steve, was the secure cloud. I was thinking about all of the applications that are going to be able to be integrated and going to be able to see in one view. And then another one, can I just take one more? Because, I'm a Starbucks girl. So I tell you, when Brian was talking about, he just, skimmed down.
CEO of Starbucks.
Exactly,
yeah.
Yes. And so he looked at Chuck and he told him, you look like a
venti.
Yes, that's my drink. That's the Americano, that's my drink.
Okay.
All right. I mean, I can't top that. That was pretty great. But talking about how Cisco really is the critical infrastructure for the AI era, it comes down to being secure and governed. That data is actually trusted, and that's why we're uniquely positioned to help you in this AI era.
Mic drop. These 2. Oh my God. This is so much fun. Lauren, I hope you're killing it tomorrow. Everybody pay attention to the keynotes tomorrow. Our dear friend Lauren's going to be killing it with the security demonstrations.
Yes, she is. Such
great stories and information happening here. Steve, I'm so glad this is not really goodbye, it's just goodbye for now.
It is goodbye for now, but I'm going to need one inspiring thought from Rob Boyd, because everybody wants to hear from Rob Boyd. What is it? Put you on the spot.
The network that we built for humans is not the same as the network we built for agentic AI.
Oh, I couldn't love that anymore. We heard about it this morning in the keynote, right? Anytime agentic steps in, 450% more demand than if a human did the same task. That's going to require a brand new network. My friends, it is always such a pleasure to be with you. Thank you. I look forward to playing more tomorrow. Go be beautiful. Have good nights. Let's do a final sign off to all of you who are in here on the streaming broadcast. My name is Steve Moulter, but I'm one part of a very, very large crew. So on behalf of not only my beautiful co-hosts, but this entire incredible Cisco TV broadcast production team of producers and technicians and engineers and designers. We love being a part of this event, and a big part of it is all of you. The fact that you tune into this broadcast, you are the reason that we do this, is to bring the entire event to you. So that means actually you're our favorite part of the event altogether, and we're grateful to be able to broadcast out to each of you. Have a great night. We will meet you right back here for a fantastic Cisco Live all day Wednesday. Let's run a few highlights from today. Have a great night, everybody. Bye-bye, all.
You were promised the cloud, but one cloud became many clouds, none of them connected. Then came AI, hungry for data and speed, hungry for access everywhere. The future doesn't need another cloud. It needs every cloud connected. One platform, every cloud, every network, every workload. Global, sovereign, secure, where AI lives without limits. Equinix. AI lives on Equinix.
Every day, billions of things just work. The lights turn on, the faucet runs, the signal connects.